Okay, so today we're going to be talking about multi-effects pedals, where your relation to multi-effects pedals, whether you should have one, if you want to buy one. This is going to help you figure out which one works best for you and your situation. So let's get started by talking about one pro and one con of multi-effects. So the great part about multi-effects is the algorithms and the sounds often are top-notch quality nowadays. So you don't have to worry about whether it's going to be, with most pedals at least, whether it's going to sound good, because they really do sound great. Really from the lower end to the higher end, they sound really good. And so that being said, they help you learn about effects and they help you learn which effects you most like and identify with, like whether you like rotary, chorus. There's some really neat stuff to play around with. So what are the drawbacks? They lack oftentimes a tactile feel to effects pedals. So they lack that ability to experiment with buying effects from different companies, putting them in the order you want, laying them out, creating your pedal board in that way. They kind of reduce it down to, one thing. And I think that that's a big pro to some people and that's a con to others. But I sometimes, when I'm using my multi-effects to cover a lot of ground, miss the tactile feel to my pedal board. But let's get into talking about some specific pedals. And then we're going to run through some sounds and some of my favorite parts of the pedals when we talk about them. But let's start with the Zoom Multi-Stomp. So the Zoom Multi-Stomp is a pedal that can replace your entire board. So this is an entry-level price point for that type of pedal. Other pedals that can cover your whole board, which is overdrive, modulation, delay, and reverb, and amp and cab sims, are like your Helix, your HX Stomp. There's so many big players in that game right now. But this is an effects pedal that does actually fit in that category. It does amp and cab sims, delay, reverb, modulation, and overdrive, distortion, fuzz, all that really fun stuff. And so that is one category. Now, it does play well on a pedal board, and it partners well with other effects as well, which is something to think about. But moving on from that category, I wanted to go to the Boss MS3, which is your multi-effects switcher. So this pedal is built to partner up really well with a pedal board, and it has loops on the back so that you can put your effects through the loops that aren't your multi-effects pedal. So oftentimes with that pedal, it will be my overdrive. This pedal also does MIDI, which it's on my current pedal board, and it covers a lot of ground. And not only that, of course, what we're talking today, it has built-in Boss effects algorithms, which are really great and they're super fun to use. So that could suit you. It goes on your pedal board and really just encapsulates what you have going on and becomes the control center. Next we have plugged in is the MOBIUS, which it's not, in my opinion, a catch-all like the Zoom, and it doesn't control your other pedals or help everything interact like something like the Boss MS3. It really is made for your pedal board to replace or go along with your other modulation effects. And I think that this is a really helpful pedal because it has a clear mindset to what its multi-effects means. And it's just going to strictly modulation. So no overdrive or delay or reverb in this pedal. And that helps you stay on track with your where it goes on the board and that kind of stuff. I love playing around with it. And then last but not least, the MERIS LVX. I've heard out there it being called, it has multi-effects in it, which it does. But they really do mostly pertain to affecting your delay. So if you wanted to put a modulation like a tremolo or a phaser or a chorus or a vibrato on your delay, it does all of that. And if you want to take away the delay algorithm, you can just use those effects alone, which is a really cool aspect. But I don't think for me it fits into that multi effects category very well, because you have to take away what it's intended to do to just let it do the other things again, which I think is really neat that they added that in, but I don't think it covers that ground for me. So if I'm gonna recommend, I could recommend all of these pedals for what they do, and I really love using them. But we're gonna stick with the MOBIUS and the Zoom for today, for example, and I'm going to tell you some of the things that I really like about them and how I use them. And let's get started with the MOBIUS. So you heard we started our intro with the vintage trem, and I love that algorithm. I love how it has two tremolo system, so we go down to the pattern trem, and it's kind of got a bit more of a modern take because it does different patterns. But the STRYMON MOBIUS is a really easy one to talk about, like I said, because it has a clear vision for what it sets out to do for you, which is cover your modulation effects. And the biggest point that we were going to talk about with the MOBIUS is it only does one effect at once. But when we're talking modulation, it doesn't seem to bother me that it only does one effect at once, because most of these, if you put more than one on it, it would start to run away. Not that it wouldn't be fun to experiment with that, but it doesn't seem to bother me on this pedal. So we swing over to the vibrato. Go right down to the rotary, and in each one of these there's several different feels and types within. And again, with multi-effects, like rotary is something that I really enjoy playing around with, but it's not something that I would want to buy separately. And I think that's what makes multi-effects really cool, is that you don't have to spend, $150 plus on an individual effect. You can just play around with all the different ones at one simple price point, which for the MOBIUS is fairly high. But we're going to switch over to the Zoom multi-stomp and kind of talk about some pros and cons of it. Okay, so we're just going to create an effects chain together. So we're starting in this section called memory, and we're going to press the middle button to enter this. And as you can see, we already have a boost up. So we're going to start with a boost. But in this section, we could have overdrive, acoustic simulator. Actually, let's, so this is a clone, so let's go in here and edit this. So quite a bit more overdrive here. Awesome. So let's exit that. So that stays on. We can see by the light here. And we're going to press the over button on our dial, which introduces the next effect, which we are going to do chorus. Yeah, so pardon the buttons are sticky on this and they don't work super well because I've had mine for ages, but that's that's nothing to do with the zoom. I've just speed it up over the years. Okay, so we've got our chorus dialed up. So now, as you can see, when we go over, we've got the clone, then we've got the chorus, holding the over button again. Let's add a delay. Feedback way down, mix way down. Okay, so again, we could add reverb and other stuff to this effects chain, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna press the middle button, and then we're already on that empty slot where we started, and we're gonna press store, and then we're just gonna name it find our numbers here. Okay, so we're just gonna name it stage 1, and this just represents one of our sounds, and then we're all done, so enter. Okay, so our stage 1 sound is here, and when we scroll around, it will change based on what one you're hovering over. So that's got a really neat vibe. But what the coolest part of this pedal that I'm going to show you right now is when you're in this menu, you can letter the different presets you have. So I'm going to do that as A. And then I have pre-made ones here down here that's just verb. That's some chorus verb. So now I have A, B, and C. And when you're in memory, you can press the middle button down at the bottom here, and it will launch into the switcher mode, which is, there's our stage 1. And then if I press it again, it goes to B, which is just our reverb. And then this goes to our reverb chorus. And then we're back to our stage 1. And if you hold it down, I have it set to go to tuner, but you can have it set to go to tap tempo as well, which I think is a really helpful touch. But all that to say, having a multi-effects pedal, I think, is really helpful when you're creating, so that if you don't happen to have, you know, a separate pedal that does that one job, you can pull up the sounds pretty quick. And I really enjoy the sounds that I'm getting, right from my cheapest one up to a little bit more expensive. and they all sound really good, and I'm really enjoying all of them. So I recommend the Zoom, the Mobius, the MS3, the LVX for what it does. I've had the Line 6 or the Eventide H9, and I really like it. I think a few things to look out for, just to, right before this video ends, my last piece of advice is check to see if it does amp and cab simulators, if that's something you're interested in. Some effects pedals have loopers, some don't. The Zoom does not have a looper. And some multi-effects pedals, you can have multiple effects on at once. Some you can't, such as the Mobius, but you can have multiple effects on at once with the Zoom. And some multi-effects pedals also offer switching, which is adding in your other effects in with your multi-effects unit. And some offer MIDI and upper level stuff like that. So if that's something you're looking for, make sure you check that before you buy a multi-effects pedal, because there's a lot on the market right now. But all of these are really great options, and I hope this helps you figure out what one's going to work best for you. Thanks again for watching. If this helped you out at all, or if you have some insights to add, feel free to comment. Or if you have any questions, feel free to comment. If it helped you out, leave a thumbs up and a subscribe. I would really appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one.